Right then guys, welcome back to another video, and today I am giving 5 potential replacements for Michael Flynn. Obviously Michael Flynn got sacked last Wednesday and we've had 2 games since then. We haven't won one of them yet. So I've drawn 5 potential managers that could take over as new Walsall manager. So yeah, let's get into the video. So the first manager I've got down is David Artell. I think he would be my number 1 replacement for Michael Flynn. I thought he did an excellent job at Crewe Alexandra. You know, he plays possession-based football, 4-3-3. And yeah, I think if he was to be appointed, there'd have to be a clear out in the summer, another one, I know, but I think David Artell would get the best out of the players. And I think many of them would have to leave because he demands a lot of technical ability for his sides. I mean, 4-3-3, attacking football and possession-based football, you've got to have a bit of technical ability about you. You know, his Crewe side, they got promoted from League 2 up into League 1, had some brilliant players, the likes of Charlie Kirk, Harry Pickering, Perry NJ at right back. And so, yeah, he developed a really good side there at Crewe, and I think he'd be my number 1 replacement for Michael Flynn. I think he's a top manager. He knows how to develop the youth at a football club. I mean, Walsall, we have been good at that over the years. We've brought some good youth players through, the likes of Jamie Patterson, Rico Henry. But over the last, 3-4 years since we've been relegated from League 2, we haven't produced many. So I think that's something that has to be addressed, and I think he'd be the right man to bring in and do that. And, you know, he's got a philosophy about him, a different philosophy to Michael Flynn, but still gets results. And he also respects a lot, demands a lot of respect for him, or you're not part of his plans. I've seen that around from Crewe fans. So, yeah, I think David Artell would be a superb appointment for Walsall. The next manager I've got down that could replace Michael Flynn, he's currently favourite at the moment, is Danny Cowley. He's got a lot of success in his career. He started at Concord Rangers and also went on to Braintree, where he won promotion there. Then after that, he went to Lincoln, where they won promotion from the National League in the first season. He also got to the quarter-final of the FA Cup. I do remember that, knocking out Burnley, who were a Premier League side at the time, which was a massive cup upset. They then got into League 2. I think in their first season, they got to the playoffs, where they didn't get promoted. Then in the second season, I think they went up as champions. And then obviously, I think after that, he went to Huddersfield in the Championship, where it didn't quite work out. I think their chairman wanted a different playing style to be played, so they went for Carlos Corberán. We got him into the playoff final, where they lost, and played some passing football. Then he went to Portsmouth, where he just had under 2 years at Portsmouth. And I've spoke to a few Portsmouth fans that said he likes to play a 4-4-2, but quite defensive and direct football. I'm not too quite sure on that, but I think Danny Cowley, his record speaks for itself. You know, he can get a team promoted. I think it wouldn't be a bad appointment. I think it'd be a solid appointment, Danny Cowley. Obviously, his brother, Nicky Cowley, I think he's his assistant at most clubs he goes to. So, yeah, there's a bond there. I've heard he's got a bit of a bond. He creates bonds with the fan base too, which we need as a football club. I think Walsall, it'd be good to see that. And for League 2 level, I think he'd be a great appointment. So, yeah, Danny Cowley, yeah, would be a solid appointment for Walsall. The third manager I've got there, and it's Graeme Alexander. He had a great career as a pro. I think he played over 800 games as a footballer, so he had a great career in the game. As a manager, he started off at Fleetwood. In the first season, he got promoted into League 1 from League 2 through the playoffs. Then I think his next managerial job after that was Scunthorpe. He had 2 seasons there. In his first season, he led them to the playoffs. I think in the second season, a bit of bad form. I think he got the sack. And then after that, he went to Salford, who were in the National League at the time. I think he got them promoted. And yeah, in League 2, he didn't do a bad job. And I think Gary Neville actually sacked him, but went on to later say that he did regret sacking Graeme Alexander. And then after that, his most recent job was at Motherwell. And he guided them in the 2021-22 season. He guided them to a 5th place finish in the Scottish Premiership. And I think, yeah, we've heard Graeme Alexander, he's an experienced manager, he's an experienced footballer. And yeah, I think he'd be a decent manager to bring in if you want to have a successful rebuild. I think, yeah, I think he could attract players too. I think he plays a 4-3-3 formation, likes attacking, which is always good to see. I want to see that back at Walsall. A bit of football played, and I think Graeme Alexander, it would be a really good appointment for Walsall if we can get it in. If he would come, I think is a different question. I think it's unlikely he would come to Walsall, but it'd be a good manager to bring in. Next manager I've got down is Richardson. His only real managerial job has really been at Wigan Athletic, where he did a superb job. He did take over as caretaker manager after the club went into administration in League One. He managed to keep him up on the last game of the season, I believe. And then the next season, I think he had the job on a full-time basis, and he managed to win Wigan the league that season and got them promoted back into the Championship. And then this season, I think he only got sacked in November after a poor run of form, which saw him slip into the relegation zone. But he's been assistant with Paul Cook for the majority of his managerial career at clubs like Wigan, Portsmouth, I think. So yeah, he's been an assistant manager, and I think Paul Cook has missed him as his number two, which shows he's held in high regard by Paul Cook. And yeah, I think he'd be a decent manager to bring in to reunite the club really and get the club playing football again. We're in not in a similar position as Wigan, but we're low down in the table, 17th, and we're not even in the top half at the moment. So if we could bring him in, I think it's not a bad shout. And you know, if he was to be appointed, I wouldn't be disappointed with that, and I'd get behind him. So the final manager I'll be mentioning is Barry Murphy. I think this one is very unlikely to happen, but I thought I'd mention him because I think he's a good young manager. His only EFL job was at Rochdale, where it lasted from 2019 to 2021. He did get the club relegated, but lots of people have mentioned about his playing style and his youth development, and that was massively praised. And with my next manager at Walsall, what I want to see is to bring an identity back to the football club. I think Barry Murphy could fit this. He's currently at Man City's academy elite development squad. So yeah, if he's not at Man City for a reason, he's obviously a very good coach. But this one is I think this is probably the most unlikely to happen out of all of them. We wait and see, and if he was, I'd be happy with it. I know he's got quite a similar win percentage to Michael Flynn, but like I said, if you've got an identity and a philosophy that the fans can buy into, I think it's good. I mean, I think if Flynn had a bit more time, he could have succeeded, but towards the end, the football was getting horrific to watch, really. So I think we've got to move on for it. And I think these five managers I've mentioned, I think if one of them was to be appointed, I'd be happy with it. The one I'd want the most, I'd like David Artell. I like the fact he's got a club promoted from playing good football and developing the youth. I'm not saying he could do that at Walsall, but I think going off that and the philosophy, I can buy into that. And I think David Artell could be the man for the job. I think Danny Cowley would be another solid appointment. But yeah, any of these five could be potential replacements, and hopefully we get some news on the next manager of Walsall very soon. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. Leave your thoughts on the five potential replacements I've and leave in the comments who do you want to see as the next Walsall manager. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Up the Saddlers.